Adama, Player of the Year, obviously, real nice honor. How do you feel about that? And then being picked fourth, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, the honor for Adama, I think you tend to your feelings on individual awards for players. I think some of them hit closer to home than others. It's one thing where just like an incredibly talented player gets an award. But when a talented player with his level work ethic, his level competitiveness, his perfectionism, when he gets an award, I think, you almost feel like there's one for the good guys because the type of effort that he puts into his career and he puts into us being successful at UConn. And then in terms of where we get picked, I feel like, again, as a program right now, we've been contenders in this league since we've gotten here. And we're just all about, as a program, taking that next step and going from a contending program where we're playing at the top of the league to, a team that can break through and win a championship and play our best basketball in March.
How is it being back here with 4 new coaches and with, Jay Wright not attending this Big East Media Day today?
Yeah, this is like, well, first of all, I think the coaches that we've brought in are only going to make a great league even stronger. This league this year is going to play top to bottom, I think, at a higher level than last year's version. In terms of being back in here, I think we know what the season is upon us, but this is like the ultimate wake-up call because you get a chance to see the other coaches, you get a chance to look at the other teams, best players, and that that game night is coming. So it's like I don't want to say a wake-up call, but it's like the roller coaster ride starts soon.
Are you surprised that Jordan isn't on any preseason teams, or does he have to prove himself because he really had a little up and down year last year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm never surprised by who makes it or who doesn't make it. I don't know that anyone else besides Adama demonstrated in terms of their production last year that they've earned to be on that team. I think that they can earn their way onto the only team that matters, that's the one that gets voted at the end of the season. I think that both Andre and Jordan can play at an all-conference level this year. Obviously, Adama has earned, with his production, what he's done in his career for 2 years, the preseason Player of the Year, but the only awards that matter are the ones you get at the end.
Excuse me.
No, I was done.
Okay. Andre seems to really carry himself just in a professional manner in all facets of his life. I'm wondering what example has he set for anyone who's been around him the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's. I never thought about having captains until I've always felt like everyone on the team has an obligation to carry themselves like a captain, and that in large part my leadership is critical in terms of setting a tone daily. But until I met Andre and started coaching him, I never really even thought about that captain piece. And just last year, I think it would have ruffled feathers of the older players to have put him in that position. But with losing that older group that had been with us, like he's a true captain, like a true captain in a sense of like somebody that takes that responsibility to heart in an old school way. And he's a beautiful human being, and it's not like coach talk. Like he genuinely cares more about our success than his production. He's very mature that way. He understands his identity, and like he's the type of guy that if he's not organizing a team dinner, hibachi, he's bringing the guys together to watch an NFL game on a Sunday, or forcing them to get in the gym when they don't want to. And him and Adama are both captains, and obviously Adama is obviously more by example but Andre's is by example, and then he just has an ability to say the right thing at the right time.
How does Jordan look different as a second-year player and a guy who can do big things?
He's stronger physically, and he knows he did it in big spots last year. He knows he played very well for us in Atlanta, obviously in probably the highest level game that we played last year against maybe the most talented opponent. He was one of the best players on the court. And then he knows that the last 2/3 of the Big East season, he was a guy that was really reliable and a guy that was an integral part of our team. And, it hurt us losing him for the Big East tournament, the NCAA tournament. It hurt us because our depth was already a little bit of an issue. So he comes in with great pedigree. He's one of, from high school at DeMatha and being a high-level recruit. And he's got a lot of self-confidence. He believes he's the next great UConn wing player. He believes that in his heart. And I think in terms of the way he shoots the ball, there's been very few players that have put the uniform on at UConn that shoot the ball as beautifully as he does. He's got to translate that to game night because all of us have to demonstrate that we have the stomach to produce.
Adama said he's been extending his range out to the perimeter, in case he ends up playing alongside Donovan or whatever, lineup that would ensue. How do you think his shot is looking from that deep?
It's better. I mean, we want him to take, potentially maybe 2 threes in the first half, unless he maybe really bricks the first one bad. Then maybe wait, maybe try one, maybe you like the other end of the court. But I just think that, for us, for him, when he plays against the bigger centers, that it's hard to just batter in the low post, a Kalkbrenner, to be able to drag them away from the basket, where maybe he can drive them with the threat of being able to make a perimeter shot. We also like to post our bigger guards like Andre Jackson, and it's hard to post them if he's also down in the low post as well. So, and then when you move them away from the basket, it also, and they're effective out there, it opens up driving lanes for our perimeter people. So I just think in general we're going to have a lot more skill in shooting on the court. And if you get some of that from the 5, you become really versatile.
How's Andre handled kind of being injured and having to watch that?
Andre has not handled being hurt well. I've had to yell at him to stop dribbling around like it's the Jersey City Boys Club in practice, right? There's a professionalism that you have to have. He's just like doing stuff with the ball on side courts that are distracting people because he wants to be out there. Listen, you can ill afford to lose any significant players. You certainly don't want to lose one of your best players and one of maybe your biggest playmaker on the court in terms of everything he brings to the table. He's a tone setter. He's going to, I think, be one of the elite defenders in the country. He's a guy that's going to average 4 or 5 assists for us a game. We put this roster together, with him in mind as a key facilitator, not necessarily as a point guard for our team, but as something that's is going to create a lot of scoring. So we're hoping that he could be back, on time for PK 85, maybe even have a chance, if everything were to go great, to get in maybe even a game or 2 potentially before that.
Coach, we talked about some of the new coaches. Shaheen Holloway, what is your relationship like with him, with the Jersey connection there?
Yeah, I've known him my whole life as a player. When he was battling my dad's teams at St. Pat's and that whole rivalry, he followed me in at Seton Hall, and he was much more successful as a point guard there than I was. I think he wore the same number.
Did you?
No, he was 10. Is he 10? Yeah, Isaiah Whitehead wore the number.
You didn't live up to him.
He much better. Thanks for being there too with that. But Shaheen, I just have a lot of respect for his career. I mean, he starts out his career as an assistant coach at a public high school in Bloomfield Tech, and he just has worked his tail off and had to earn every opportunity in coaching now, to the point where now he's the head coach of his alma mater in the Big East, man. And I love his old school values as a coach. He's got an incredibly high standard. I coach the same way. I think we mirror a lot of the way we go about our job. We're old school. We set high standards for how we're going to practice and how our guys are going to carry themselves on and off the court. We're not the easiest people to play for, but I think we make our players better, and we build character, and we win a lot of games.
Did you watch them during the tournament last year?
I watched them late in the year. During that championship week, people that you care about, and you do get a chance to follow them throughout the regular season. And I watched how much his team improved from the regular season to the conference tournament, and I got caught up in their run, not as much as maybe I would have if we didn't lose in the way we lost. Put a pretty good damper on any game I watched for 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks after we lost.
Dan, you talked about Shaheen. Bashir made some fouls, and he followed you at Wagner before he went to URI. Do you think that experience is going to help him pick up where St. Peter's left off?
I think so. I think Bashir has had such great experience. Every job he's gotten, he's kind of taken them in steps, right? He was a high school head coach before he became a college assistant. Where he got experience for a couple of years. Then he became an NEC head coach, and now he's going up to, a much tougher league. So every experience he's had has prepared him for the next one, and he's a natural leader. He's one of the best leaders I've ever coached. The 2 years he played for me at Benelux.
Yeah, a lot of good big men, it seems, in the country overall, and certainly in this league as well. Can you pinpoint a reason for that? Is a big man back, or is it because some of these guys aren't quite?
Well, I just think
ready?
Because the game has changed so much. Big guys, when traditional centers were the commodity at the NBA, they were drafted early in their career. Back to the basket. Classic centers didn't stay in college very long. They left quickly. As the game has changed now, and the NBA is looking for more 5-out type of skill at that position, kind of traditional back to the basket centers now. The NBA is not calling for them, and now they're staying in college. Now add NIL on top of that, and it feels like some of these guys have been in college forever, whereas they were gone one and done, or maybe 2 years at most.
Coach, what's it to you to get to coach your son? And is it extra special that you went through that with your dad?
It is. I'm probably not as tough on my son, Andrew, as my dad was on me and Bob. I'll go straight away with that. Although I did jump him. We had a really bad practice on Monday, and I was giving it to everybody, and I got him, too. And he's grown up a lot because he didn't tell my wife. So, it's good for me, I think. Obviously, at this level of sport, you don't see your family a lot, right? So, and he's a smart kid, and he's a smart player, and he played in a great high school program. He's Catholic. So he helps us get prepared in terms of what he could bring to a practice. And then for me, on a personal level, just to, game day shoot around for an intense must-win game on the road, and you know it, and your team knows it, to have your son around, it takes a little bit of the edge off, right? It helps you to relax, and then going on the journey with him is also a pretty cool experience for both of us.
Coach, you've been really high on Hassan Diarra. What excites you the most about him coming in as a transfer?
He's, I think that our team lacked last year, and I think it showed up in some big spots. I think it showed up a little bit Big East tournament. I think it showed up in a big way in the NCAA tournament. I think there's a swagger, an attacking, aggressive, a personality where you think you're the best player on the court. He has an infectious self-belief that I think those type of personalities they run through a team, and I think however the point guard competition shakes out, he's going to play starter minutes for this team, and the collective between him and Tristan Newton, although I don't know that either one of them will get necessarily the numbers that RJ got on an individual basis. Maybe the collective between the two, we get the production that our point guard spot got in totality last year.
Yeah, and then Tristan also, he has different skills that he brings to the table. What does he sort of bring that might be different than a guy like Hassan?
Yeah, he plays at a much different pace than Hassan plays at. A lot more measured pace. He's a guy that's had a ton of production. I think he does a couple things for us where that I think are important. He's going to provide scoring punch, much needed with the loss of RJ and Tyrese. So on the perimeter, giving that punch along with Jordan, along with Naheem Aline, along with Hassan, who's going to score for us. Joey California. We've got some scoring punch there, and obviously we expect more production from Andre as a double-figure scorer as well. So, I just think overall what we're going to get, I think, we're hoping that Andre and Jordan give us the impact that RJ and Tyrese gave us. Not the production, because Andre's not the 16, 17 point a game scorer. He's more the 10 points, the 8 rebounds, the 4 or 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, right? But I just think 4 through 9, 4 through 10, the amount of scoring production we're going to get is going to be significantly more productive than what we've gotten. For me, going back to year 6 at Rhode Island, where we had one of the deepest perimeters in the country, and we played 9 or 10 guys.
How would it change things not having Andre for the first couple games?
What's that?
How would it change things not having Andre at least to start off?
It changes things a lot. You don't want to lose any player, any rotation player, but he's one of our best players. We've put this roster obviously with Andre in mind. The good news is it's just a couple games. There's some things from a defensive standpoint that we know we're going to have to stay away from doing. There's some things from an offensive standpoint in the half court, the way that we're going to attack opponents that we're going to have to stay away from doing. My biggest fear is we lose our tone setter. We lose the emotional leader of the team. We lose probably our biggest playmaker, the guy that can erase mistakes athletically. Somebody gets broken down defensively. We lose the guy that can come weak side and block it at the rim. We lose the guy that, when we're struggling offensively, can get in a passing lane and go down and windmill dunk it and get Gamble or the XL going. So, it's going to have to be a collective thing. There's no one in the program that can just replace a lot of the things he does as a playmaker.